In the quiet, cold stretch of sky between Cassiopeia and Perseus, there exists a star that shouldn't exist. It flickers like no other, it pulses with a rhythm. Not chaotic, not natural, but deliberate. And every 13 years without fail it sends a signal. Not in light, not in particles, but in time. In the early spring of 1983, a small ground telescope in Patagonia picked up an anomaly. A flash, just one, barely a microsecond long. But in that impossibly short burst, there were patterns. A mathematical structure, prime sequences, repeating numbers. It looked like language. The team recorded it. They analyzed it, and then they dismissed it, equipment malfunction. A cosmic ray, they moved on. 13 years later, in 1996, it happened again. Same sky, same star, same burst. But this time, it wasn't a team of hobbyists that caught it. It was the Hubble Space Telescope, and this time, someone noticed something chilling. The message wasn't repeating, it was continuing. From where the 1983 pulse left off, the 1996 burst added new data, as if a single, long message was being transmitted in pieces separated by decades. No one could explain it. Stars don't do that. So the signal was logged. Observatories were quietly told to monitor the patch of sky. A file was started, and then silence until 2009, exactly 13 years after the last pulse. It happened again. A third burst, same timing, same location, same structure. Now it was undeniable. This star was communicating, but not with us. Because when scientists overlaid the signal's content carefully stitched together from all three transmissions, it painted a strange picture. A warning in multiple frequencies, one idea repeated again and again. They arrived, no context, no coordinates, just those words in mathematical representations. They arrived. Arrived where? From where, and more importantly, who is the message meant for? The star had no known planetary system. It burned cold, inconsistent. It didn't match any expected spectral type. In fact, it behaved more like a dying star, except it wasn't dying. It was pulsing, regularly, intentionally. The team at the European Southern Observatory ran a simulation extrapolating the pulse timings backward, and their findings were disturbing. The pattern had likely begun over 13,000 years ago. If accurate, that meant at least 1,000 messages had already been sent into the dark, with no one to hear them until now. But the real fear didn't set in until 2022, because that's when the signal broke the cycle. It came early by 5 months. Astronomers scrambled. The signal was stronger, longer, and for the first time, it came with images. Not direct visuals, but patterns encoded in pixel matrices, frames. The signal was drawing something. Dozens of warped, curved structures, black arcs stretching over landscapes. Long shadows cast by things not seen, and in frame 47, something unmistakable, a human silhouette. Not primitive, not alien, a modern human. Standing beneath the black arc, staring up, and in front of them, words. Still in prime-based code, still math-heavy. But this time, there was no ambiguity. The message said, they are not gone, and that's when something began happening to the star itself. It started dimming, not gradually, not from dust or occlusion. It flickered like a dying bulb, erratic, unstable, as if something was pulling at it from behind. Then came the next signal, only weeks later. The timing was completely broken now. No longer 13 years, no longer predictable. The warning was escalating. This message didn't contain math. It contained a sound, just one. A mechanical drone, constant, uneven, grinding. It sounded like a machine dragging metal across stone, or a large door closing slowly. Something old, and very heavy. One astrophysicist described it best: it sounds like the end of something. That doesn't want to end. The signal was now being monitored by every major agency, but none of them could explain it. Where was it coming from? Why was it aimed at us now? Was this always meant for us? Or were we just eavesdropping? Then came the final clue. When the frames from the last burst were reanalyzed under thermal signature modeling, a hidden overlay emerged, not visible to the naked eye. It was a map not of stars but of fractures. Space, torn and curling like shattered glass. The lines led away from the star toward the black space between galaxies. And along those fractures, pulses, smaller ones. Like echoes of the original star, other sources, other warnings. We weren't hearing one voice. We were hearing a network of alarms. And the star we had been watching? It was just the closest, the last to fall silent. Because after the final burst, it collapsed. Astronomically speaking, that shouldn't be possible. The star wasn't old enough. It wasn't massive enough. And yet, one moment it pulsed. The next, it was gone, as if it had never been there. No supernova, no remnants, no gravitational shock. Just erased. That's when the messages started coming from elsewhere. Other stars, fainter ones. Each carrying the same tone, the same pattern. Shorter now, more urgent. And each ended with a new word. Run. But where? From what the messages had always been delayed. Sent across thousands of years of space. But if we're hearing them now, that means whatever's being warned about is already here.